My question is to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has repeatedly stated that the Uluru Statement from the Heart literally fits on one A4 page. Is the Prime Minister aware that the statement, as released by the National Indigenous Australians Agency in response to a Freedom of Information request, is actually 26 pages long, and 23 to 26 page call for the Madaraka Commission to be given all necessary powers to sit above the Parliament and Executive as an umpire in treaty negotiations?
The member for Flynn will pause. I can't hear a word the member for Flynn is saying. Members on my right will not— the member for Kingsford Smith is warned. I cannot hear the question. Anyone who interrupts during this question will remove themselves under 94A. The member for Flynn will begin his question again.
My question is to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has repeatedly stated that the Uluru Statement from the Heart literally fits on one A4 page. Is the Prime Minister aware the statement, as released by the National Indigenous Agencies in response to a Freedom of Information request, is actually 26 pages long, and pages 23 to 26 call for a Madaraka Commission to be given all necessary powers to sit above the Parliament and Executive as an umpire in treaty negotiations? Why does the Prime Minister continue to be deceptive and not provide information millions of Australians are asking for?
Order. The Prime Minister on point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I ask that leave be given for the member for Flynn to complete all of his question on whatever time it takes, because I do want to answer this.
The member for Flynn's time ran out before he asked the question. The member for Flynn is a relatively new member. I remind all members it does cut both ways, but the question has to be in before the 30-second mark. Did the Prime Minister hear the full question?
I just will give leave for the member to ask the question.
The member for Flynn can just make sure the question was within the 30 seconds. Order. Order. And there will be silence.
The Prime Minister has repeatedly stated that the Uluru Statement from the Heart literally fits on one A4 page. Is the Prime Minister aware the statement, as released by National Indigenous Australians Agency in response to a Freedom of Information request, is actually 26 pages long, and pages 23 to 26 call for a Madaraka Commission? Why does the Prime Minister continue to be deceptive and not provide information millions of Australians are asking for?
I thank the member for Flynn. The Prime Minister has the call. Order.
I thank the member for Flynn for his question. I do say, as a new member, he should be wary if no one up the front will ask a question, because that is a conspiracy in search of a theory, Mr. Speaker. It is something that has been out there, like a whole lot of the QAnon theories. We have all sorts of conspiracy stuff out there, but this is a ripper. That is the Uluru Statement from the Heart on an A4 bit of paper. That is it. The first sentence in it is, "We gathered at the 2017 National Constitutional Convention, coming from all points of the southern sky, make this statement from the heart." The last sentence is, or the last para, "In 1967 we were counted, in 2017 we seek to be heard. We leave base camp and start our trek across this vast country. We invite you to walk with us in a movement of the Australian people for a better future." Mr. Speaker, nothing exposes the falseness of the arguments being put by the No campaign than this conspiracy theory and nonsense. They put in an FOI, and what they got was a whole lot of minutes from meetings with a whole lot of verbal statements from whoever to whoever at meetings that were held right around the country. There were meetings held, over 8,000 meetings held around the country, big and small. through a dialogue leading up to the Constitutional Convention, something that should have been respected. And it came up with what is an eloquent statement from the heart, one that not only fits on an A4 page, but one that was signed by the delegates to the Constitutional Convention, signed by the leaders who were there at Uluru. But what we have here is the conspiracy theories colliding with each other. They're struggling to get their scares straight. I mean, what role did Marcia Langton play in the faking of the moon landing, Mr Speaker? What was the role of the Uluru Statement from the Heart in that? This is absolutely nonsense. There's a whole lot of projection going on here, Mr Speaker, more projection than a film festival. And it's coming from those opposite who do not want to debate the facts. Take what is in the Uluru Statement, that is an eloquent request from Indigenous Australians to come together as a nation. Something that after the statement occurred, they established committees to look at the detail. This is absolute nonsense and conspiracy.
Order. The Prime Minister's time.